Jack, and now you're 6. Congratulations. Jack, you're an amazing young man. And this video is about the 6 years that I remember you. You know, I remember you in the hospital room just after you were born. Your mommy and daddy were there. All your aunts and uncles and everybody, your extended family were there, all to see this wondrous day. And then something magical happened. When I picked you up, all wrapped up, and held you in my arms, something magical, something wonderful happened. And that was the beginning of our bonding process. So this birthday video is a way of me looking back upon the 6 years that I've known you. And it's just remembering dozens and dozens of different issues. I was down there when you weren't even toddling, and you're in your high chair, and I was feeding you finger food, and we're just watching you eat, and you're, learning how to feed yourself. And it was fun just to watch you and talk to you, and you just, and I don't know why I did it, but I thought I'd like to see how he responds to this. So what I did was to go this way. I didn't say anything. I just went, Jack, you looked at me and thought, Papa is doing this. He must want some of the food that he's giving me. And you know what you did? You picked up one of the little Cheerios and gave it to me. And so that was a wonderful event. But what was even more incredible, that this child who wasn't even walking, the expression on your face when you're processing what is happening. Here's feeding me, and he wants to be fed. He must be hungry. I'll feed him. The expression on your face was angelic, meaning like an angel. I've written about it many times. But we've had so much fun. One time when you lived in your old home, we would go down and walk along the river, and they took trees and chopped them up, and then put a kind of a walkway along the river so you wouldn't get muddy or anything like that. And they had this just kind of path of wooden chips, and we were just talking away, just walking along, just enjoying the time. And he said, "What's that, Papa?" And I looked at him. I said, "I don't see anything." He said, "No, look." And there it was, a garter snake that was no longer than this. And I missed seeing it because of the wood chips, but you saw it. And I looked at it and I thought, I know what it is a garter snake, but because we used to play this game of King Cobra. I'm King Cobra. No, I'm a good King Cobra. I said, well, it probably is a baby King Cobra. And so you said, well, why don't we get it and take it back and show Owen? So I picked up the King Cobra and we went back, and Owen not only found out about the garter snake, but everybody in the neighborhood, all your friends, everybody, you were saying, hey, look at the King Cobra. And they would go, whoa. This birthday video is about how exceptional you are as a young man. And you don't remember this, you were too young to remember this, but every week I'd come down and visit you. And when I had to go back to my home in Crown Point, I'd pick you up and hold you and kiss you and say, Jack, we had a great time. We did this and did this. And I just was talking about how great of a kid you are. And it wasn't, I didn't write a Shakespearean sonnet about how great Jack was. I just said, I don't remember what I said. I mean, it was like, you're special, blah, 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 blah. And you said quietly and politely to my response about how great you are. You said, no, I'm just Jack. And I said politely and quietly, no, you're not just Jack. And you let that comment go. I kissed you goodbye and then went back. But you weren't ready to understand what I meant about you not being just Jack. And so this video is to tell you in video form about why, just a couple reasons why you're not just Jack. Probably, well, it was when you were 3 years old. You had just turned 3. And I was down there one time, and just after your birthday. And while you were playing in the room, I was looking at on my laptop a class I was teaching in art history. Now, I took art history when I was in college in my junior year, and I loved it. At the end of the year, the professor said, would you like to be a teaching assistant next year? So I taught students that I was going to college with subsections in the arts. I loved teaching arts. In the last 20 years, I've spent teaching many humanity classes, but one of them is art history. And that was a class that I was teaching when you came in the room, and it was an online class. So I was teaching it to students that were on other laptops or desktops. And I was explaining something about this particular painting, and I don't recall what the painting was. But you said, what is that? And I said, it's a famous painting. And you kind of nodded and you toddled off. 5-10 minutes later, you come back in and there's another painting on the monitor. And you looked at it and said, what's that? And I said, that's another famous painting. you said, oh, and I said to myself, if you want me to teach you art history, you've come to the right person. I've taught art history for a good chunk of my life. And I'm telling you, it never dawned on me that a 3-year-old would be interested at all in art history. If somebody said, do you want to teach Jack art history? I said, teach a 3-year-old? If you were a senior in high school, I think I could have taught it to you and you would have gotten it. You know dozens and dozens of paintings and who painted them. You know things that, well, Van Gogh, you know Starry Night and Starry Night Over the Rhone. Do you know that probably 75% of Americans don't even know what Starry Night Over the Rhone looks like or who painted it? And I bet you half the people don't know that Van Gogh painted Starry Night, the one that everybody knows, the vertical one. One of the, in fact, for a while, I don't know which is your favorite now, but for 2.5 years, Marc Chagall's Eye in the Village was your favorite painting. And I told you that when I was in college, in my dorm room, I had that painting, a copy of it. And one of the reasons you love Chagall's painting was that you could see that he painted your house that you used to live on or live in on his painting. And he says, see, Papa, that's my house. When you were 4, you came up to my place, and my home is on a little man-made lake. And, you know, there's little railroad ties that we could sit on. And the lake doesn't really have any beach area. All it has are little rocks for 3 or 4 feet. And then we were just sitting on the railroad tie, throwing in rocks into the lake. And we're, you know, plop, you know, laugh. And, we were having the time of our lives. And then all of a sudden you said, what's this, Papa? And I looked at it, and you picked up a rock that had probably half a dozen or more little, very small seashells that had been fossilized within that rock. And I thought, Jack, you learned art history, and if you want to learn fossil collection, I used to take the only science class that I have ever taken outside of high school. But once I got into college, grad school, or post-grad, I've only had 10 hours of science. And it was in geology, in which we studied fossils. I told you about the professor I had who took us on a dig looking for fossils, and if we found a trilobite, we would get an A for the class. You and Owen have a handful of trilobites in your fossil collection. You wanted to learn. You wanted to learn art history. You wanted to learn fossils. How many Americans do you think would know the relationship between the Rosetta Stone and the Rosetta Mission? Not many. And at that time, a 6 or 5-year-old knew about space exploration. You wanted to learn all the time. you're an exceptional young man, Jack. And that's why you're not just Jack. I remember last summer going up to the park where there's a swimming pool, and we'd throw out that little submarine thing, and you'd have to go dive down to get it. And every time you get it, you come back and say, you wanted me to throw it further. You're driven to be competitive with yourself. You will keep on going and going and going. One time, I was saying goodbye to you, and you said, I want to live with you, Papa. And I said, well, I'd love to have you live with me, but I don't think your parents would permit it, and you wouldn't see them, and you wouldn't see Owen. But I'll come down every week and visit you, your parents, and Owen. And I don't know how this happened, and I don't know the psychological process that took place, but there was some sort of bonding between you and me, and it started on the day you were born and has continued since. And when I'm teaching, I got you a little camera one time for your for Christmas, and you enjoyed it for a month, but you wanted to try to use my camera. And Jack, I said, you can use my camera anytime without any permission coming from me. If you just simply, when you want to use it, pick it up and then put the strap around your neck, and then you can go take a picture. And the reason for the strap is because it has a large flash on it, and it also has a battery bar under the camera, and it's very heavy. And so you just when I take pictures of you and Owen looking at fossils, looking at paintings, and I put the camera down, and you get the idea that you want to take a picture of me teaching Owen something, you'll pick it up. The pictures the last 2 years of any picture that I'm in with Owen or teaching Owen something while you were there, any picture that is there with Owen and me talking about something, you took, and the pictures are excellent. It's been probably 2 months. I came down one day, and your mother said, you're just getting over the flu. And you were happy to see me, and picked you up, kissed you. We started playing, doing whatever we were doing on the floor in your family room. And then you just stood up. And I was concerned because you weren't feeling well. And your mother said, well, why don't you just have him sit down on the couch and you can watch television. And so you sat down, and I sat down next to you. Didn't touch you, didn't put my arm around you, didn't do anything. I just sat down and wanted to let you be. Kind of in part because I didn't know how sick you felt. I didn't want to inconvenience you or make, I was just going to let things be and just kind of. 1001, 1002, 1003. Next thing I noticed, you're sliding closer to me, till you're up next to me. I was like, Jack, if you want to sit next to me, I'll put my arm around you. And I put my arm around you and held you that way for an hour watching television. Neither of us said anything. But I've talked about this bonding. When you were just a toddler, we were in your family room in your old home, and we're playing with trains. And we were having a good time. And I was just laying there on the floor, and the next thing I noticed is you put your head on my stomach, and you just wanted to cuddle. You never said anything. And that happens all the time. Anytime that you're together near me, it doesn't take 3 seconds. It's 1001, 1002, and then you're next to me. Jack, you're not just Jack. You're an amazing young man. We've talked about what you're going to do when you grow up, what job you're going to do. The last time we had a discussion about that a couple of weeks ago, you said, I want to be a pilot and fly. You be anything you want. But when you're out there in the world making money, by that time you will be an adult like your mommy and daddy. You'll get married and have kids. And it's going to be your responsibility financially to take care of them and to reach out and help them as you've been helped by your parents to grow and to mature and to become all that you can be. And so that will be your, what they call nuclear family, your own family. But you also have what they call the extended family. Those people who don't live in your home, but who are related to you. Aunts and uncles, Yaya, me. These are all people that are part of your larger family. But Jack, there are people in your neighborhood that are not your family members, but are part of the larger family. We live on this earth, and we're all human beings. We're all a part of one family. And when you grow up and you're taking care of your family, your wife, your kids, helping Owen, helping your parents, don't forget those people out there that aren't directly related to you, because they are a part of the family of humankind. You've heard me talk about TT in Myanmar. I see TT as my granddaughter also, just like you're my grandson. I want to help her, and I want you to remember that as you grow up, that you have responsibility for your family, your parents and Owen, but you also have a responsibility for the larger family. And Jack, I know that you'll do that well, even before you started. And why do I know that? because I know that you're not just Jack. Young man, you're exceptional. Don't ever forget it. And one other thing, don't forget. I love you. I really mean that. And by the way, happy birthday.